Welcome back to the show. Check out these headlines. 7 countries equal crypto strategic reserves. How about this? XRP, DeFi, and yield. We got things popping off like crazy. You're going to know about all of it. And XRP supply shock, it just got even bigger. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $4 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. Market is off 0.1%. Bitcoin 112,900 plus, 4,100 plus for Ethereum. XRP slips number 4 spot. We're 287. We're up 0.6 on the 24. We're off 5.4 on the 7-day. Take a look at the range of price between 281 and 288. We're getting back up to the top side of that range. Not hurting my feelings. The technical analysts say we're still in bullish territory, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm excited about that. Now let's take a look at this very quickly. It is Caleb and Brown, crypto brokerage. Listen, I don't know if you had the experience of doing this yet, but I tell you what, you're going to find out what I found out, Digital Asset Investor found out, and everybody that we've talked to that sends us messages after they go and find out. You go to xrpwealth589.com, sign up for your free account today. You're not going to believe it. Free institutional grade custody, no hidden fees or spreads. It's amazing. You get to trade all the assets 24/7. And you know what else? Customer service, human customer service. Talk to them on the phone, talk to them on an email. No more waiting in a queue for 4 to 6 weeks to wait for somebody to respond to you. This is the level of service I've been looking for since I got into crypto, and it happens to come with the same level of security I've been looking for since day one as well. If you're looking for peace of mind, you just found it. xrpwealth589.com. Sign up for your free account today. Now here, look at this. We got to shout out Brad Garlinghouse. He just got married. He said, I feel so lucky for so many reasons, and marrying Tara this past weekend takes the cake. This next chapter of life is so much sweeter with you. And I say, congratulations, Brad Garlinghouse. Life is so much more fun when you have the right person to share it with. You can see it. Look how happy they are right there. Very happy. Loving that for those guys. Congratulations to you both. And then here we see you're looking for the trifecta of VC token pump gang. Oh, it's all here. Kyle Samani, Anthony Pompliano, and Mike Novogratz. And they all know exactly what the XRP ledger is going to do, even though they try to talk it down anyway.
It took Michael 4 years, more maybe 4 years. And what was interesting about MicroStrategy, it became its own community. Like, these work if they become communities. You think about what the core value prop in crypto so far has not been utility. It's been community, right? You're part of the XRP army. A lot of people don't use the XRP blockchain, but they really like the coin, right? What does it mean, like the coin? mean?
Well, here's the thing. Oh my goodness. Mike Novogratz is a great example of how anyone could become a multi-billionaire, because he's just not that bright, right? So the reality is he's talking about no one's really using the XRP ledger. Yeah, because we got sued for 5 years, Mike. Yeah. And no, that's not very attractive when you're going through a 5-year lawsuit. And utility is going to come because we did get sued and we did win, Mike. And I didn't remember that coming out of your mouth in this 49-second clip either. But don't worry about it. I covered it for you because you, as DAI rightly says here, you and your VC pump gang, Kyle Samani and Anthony Pompliano, up there talking your book, try and talk everything else down. But that's okay because utility's coming with this legislation, Mike. And then what are we going to hear? The SEC and the CFTC will host a joint roundtable on September 29th. Discuss regulatory harmonization priorities between the two agencies. Loving this for all of us. This was unheard of just not long ago, right? 8-9 months ago, it was unheard of. So here we have this. This is Grayscale's head of research, Zach Pandel, and he's on the launch of the Grayscale CoinDesk Crypto 5 ETFs, XRP, ETH, Bitcoin, Solana, and ADA. I'm sure you know, but listen to this.
And approval and the trading begins today for the Grayscale CoinDesk Crypto 5 ETF, a diversified index-based crypto investment product. Really, this is ushering in the age of index investing in crypto. Throughout many other asset classes, investors prefer to get index exposure. They don't want to be stock pickers or bond pickers. They want to access the asset class in a way that represents the broad set of exposures and automatically rebalances over time. And this is exactly what they're going to get with this product, the Crypto 5 product from Grayscale and CoinDesk. I think it's going to be a great solution for a lot of investors. Grayscale is out in the world talking to mainstream investors about crypto every single day. And we hear demand for this type of product all the time. And we're thrilled to be able to offer it in the most efficient product structure that investors prefer, which is the ETP or ETF wrapper. So the Grayscale CoinDesk Crypto 5 Index, I think, will be a great way for investors to get a crypto allocation, a crypto sleeve in a portfolio without having to go too deep into all the complexity of blockchain technology or to try to figure out which one is going to be, the fastest, blockchain in the future, et cetera. They can have an allocation to the asset class that will automatically rebalance and make sure that you're experiencing the growth in the asset class overall. And I think there's going to be a lot of demand for this product.
I do too, and I think they're spot on. And remember that weight of these assets in this index are always changing based on dynamics. So it'll be interesting to see, because I think XRP is going to continue to get a larger weighted average as it goes and as we see utility make its way to market. Now, here is Clearpool CEO Jay Kronbilkler, and he's on stage at XRP Seoul, which I heard was a fantastic event. Shout out to whoever put that on over there. And I want you to hear what he says about earning yield and XRP and borrowing and lending use cases.
XRP definitely differentiates from Bitcoin in terms of utility. Another very interesting factor, I think, is for the DATs, once again, is yield generation. I think when it comes to XRP, we're still relatively early compared to other assets such as Ethereum, that obviously has native staking, and a very large percentage of that asset actually actively already generates yield. So I think XRP has a massive potential to be deployed into yield-bearing opportunities. Now, obviously, we already talked about using XRP for cross-border payment settlement. I think XRP, because of its, extremely liquid nature, is obviously also a very interesting collateral, right? So use XRP as collateral to borrow stable coins, other assets. Use XRP as collateral to facilitate stablecoin cross-border payments. So there's a lot that you can do, and I think it is very interesting that if you already, if you think that XRP is an attractive asset, then investing into an XRP DAT can be very attractive because, besides just having, this yield opportunities, obviously there is also the advantage that there's regulatory oversight, right? So you're gonna invest into a kind of like, listed hedge fund in that sense that has, best-in-class institutional grade custody providers and has, has probably a better transparency versus investing into a private fund. So I think that's an interesting value proposition for XRP.
There you go. And a great value proposition it is, but it gets better. Buckle up. The greatest unlock of idle liquidity in digital asset space just happened. Ripple unveils next phase of institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger with 1 billion stablecoin volume, live compliance tools, and upcoming native lending protocol. Yeah, this is all for institutions. Hey, somebody please let Kyle Samani, Anthony Pompliano, and Mike Novogratz know that these are for institutions they're working on, right? Not us, not the XRP army. No, the XRP army is about to get all the institutions in it. That's what's getting ready to happen. And here we had this news break yesterday, which was fantastic. Shout out to Axelar Network. I was able to tune into a Spaces and join as a speaker with Eleanor Terrett. Thanks to her for putting this together. Axelar is absolutely crushing it. Shout out to Georgios Vlachos and Midas's Dennis. Dennis and Georgios were laying it down. They have a new yield-bearing liquid stake token that kickstarts DeFi on the XRP ledger and unlocks up to 10% APY for XRP holders. And they're introducing that new token as MXRP. So DeFi is here and the race is on. Take a listen to this quick clip.
Midas and Interop Labs have unveiled MXRP, pitched as the first liquid staking product for the XRP ecosystem, promising holders potential returns of up to 8%. This new token highlights a significant push to tie the XRP ledger into broader cross-chain liquidity flows. Announced at XRPL's Seoul 2025, the product allows XRP to be converted into a yield-bearing asset that can be used across decentralized finance protocols for additional opportunities. Midas co-founder Dennis Dinkelmeyer said that MXRP could, quote, play a key role in unlocking new use cases for XRP. The targeted net returns for MXRP are set in the 6 to 8% range, though the final outcome will depend on underlying strategy performance.
There you have it right there. The stablecoin race continues. Hugo Filion from Flare. XRP can be used on Flare in non-custodial and permissionless DeFi. It can also be put into a vault that grants a risk curator the ability to generate returns on your behalf. Strategies undertaken can be entirely on-chain, off-chain, or a hybrid of both. Flare has some of the biggest risk curators in the space building vault-based strategies. Flare offers all ends of the spectrum in one place. So this is the kind of competition I'm looking for. Now you got Ripple getting into it on the institutional side. You got Hugo and Flare. You got Axelar coming out. We got several others out here offering. Doppler does some stuff. You know, there's many others out here that are really starting to hit it. And I love that the race is on. And here's the goal. Hugo lays down the goal, 5 billion XRP locked up on Flare networks, earning yield by the middle of 2026. Just basically 9 months from now.
Hugo, with the DeFi ecosystem within XRP now starting to expand, how much do you think is going to be unlocked just this year, in the last few months of this year?
I mean, I'd like to see Flare at 5 billion XRP by mid-2026. Don't know about the last period of this year. Market's a bit volatile, but I'd like to see Flare at 5 billion XRP.
Hugo?
Yeah, and I'd like to see Hugo and Flare on stage at XRP Las Vegas 2026, Hugo. We've waited because we know that we haven't had the legislation or the kind of regulatory clarity here in the US. This is your time, man. You need to be on stage at XRP Las Vegas. It is a moment, I tell you right now, and I don't say this because I'm the founder of the conference, but I tell you this. With important things like DeFi breaking open for the first time ever in mass for XRP holders, I'll say this. Whoever is sharp enough to come and participate on stage at XRP Las Vegas will have the first mover advantage for doing so. There's no mistake about it. And here's Canary Capital, Stephen McClurg, talking about this for XRP spot ETFs. Remember, that's all DeFi we were just talking about. We still have the almost 20 XRP spot ETFs waiting for approval, for which he believes 5 billion will come into XRP spot ETFs within the first 30 days.
Into this, the Ripple ETF or XRP ETF approval odds right now on Polymarket hovering at around 86%. So one of its highest points, but it looks like this is going to happen. What is the likelihood of the timing for this right now?
I would guess that XRP would probably be this year. Either Eric or James from Bloomberg simply said, well, if there's futures at Coinbase, then you probably get an ETF in 2025.
Your statement at that time was 5 billion in the first month. Are you still holding to that? Do you think that's a possibility?
I really am. I would say after Bitcoin, XRP is probably the most well-known on Wall Street and on finance circles.
See, Stephen McClurg knows. He referenced Wall Street and finance circles. He ain't talking about the XRP army.
And then ETH is actually probably number 3. So if you think about it that way, I do believe that XRP could potentially outperform ETH just from pure financial services standpoint.
There you have it right there. Loving that. Shout out to Stephen McClurg and Paul Barron. The Shane Ellis theory in motion once XRP ETFs are approved. And let's also sprinkle in all of this DeFi opportunity that's now making its way to market because it can for the first time ever. Remember, stable coins and doing DeFi and things of this nature and smart contracts. I'm glad that none of that was going on before the SEC sued XRP and Ripple, because if there was, this court case would probably still be going on. So I think it was a strategic move, whether it was intentional or not, to not have those things happening or in play while the lawsuit happened. And now that the lawsuit is over, well, just you wait and see. Let's get that legislation and we'll all know what's going on around here. 24 Hours Crypto put this out just a couple days ago to remind everybody, please people don't realize how little XRP is left. Ripple escrow 37.3 billion, that's 37.3%. Ripple liquid 3.5 billion, 3.5%. Chris Larson 2.3 billion, that's 2.3%. Arthur Brito 1.3 billion, that's 1.3%. So that's nearly 44.4% of the supply already accounted for. Then you have to look at the institutions, which are about to come in mass. Purpose ETF already holds 29.6 million XRP, and then 3IQ holds another 45 million. Right. The best part: these are small firms, not trillion-dollar giants. Retail maybe 15% of the supply at best, and that may be granting some room there. When JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Goldman enter, billions more XRP vanish into cold storage. That's how I see this going. And that's the Shane Ellis theory that I keep telling you about. Then sprinkle in the idea that this just broke. U.S. lawmakers asked the SEC to implement President Trump's executive order opening the $12.5 trillion from 401k retirement market to crypto. Yeah, that's getting ready to happen. And the average hold time on those accounts, about 40 years. Yeah. Then sprinkle in 7 countries have already established a national Bitcoin reserve. You think they're going to stop at Bitcoin? What's it look like when they decide to hold other assets like XRP, XLM, ADA, and others? They're not going to just hold just Bitcoin. Come on, let's understand that. So it's just a matter of time. Then you got countries competing for these stockpiles and reserves. The White House Crypto Council anticipates crypto market structure bill is passing in Q4 this year. Love that positive energy. And breaking, don't forget about this, just 7 days from now, the U.S. Treasury set September 30th for a full modernization of its payment infrastructure. Global implications ahead. And I say this, it was Craig Phillips, Michael S. Barr, Susan Friedman, and Rosie Rios, the 43rd treasurer, all of which came from the U.S. Treasury to work at Ripple. And some are still there. Could that be a part of this modernization of the U.S. Treasury system? Well, I don't know, but we're about to find out. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. The XRP supply shock isn't just real. I think it's going to get more real than any of us have ever imagined, and it won't take long for it to happen. Again, not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.